Welcome to Kix Gaming. I am Kix, and in today's video, we are going to be doing a spoiler-free review of Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. This video is for anyone who hasn't purchased the game and might be on the fence and wants to take a look at it. I decided to go spoiler-free because there's plenty of videos on YouTube that are full gameplay walkthroughs, so if you're looking for that, you can certainly find them. But I thought for anyone who might be on the fence or hasn't started the game yet, I didn't want to spoil a number of the story elements that were contained within those cutscenes. But I wanted to give you an honest perspective on my thoughts on the game. So there's going to be some criticisms in here because I got to be me and I can't just blaze a game to curry favor with a game studio. I'm always going to keep it real with y'all. That being said, I also understand that this game is not specifically made for my demographic. So I don't think anything I say during this review is going to be unfair. But I'm going to go ahead and break it down by several of the sections or elements in this game and how I felt about them. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm Batman. What do you think? That was pretty good, right? So the first thing we're going to talk about is the progression system. A lot of things in this game are very similar to the Arkham style games, but just taking place within the Lego universe. So you have a progression system for combat and exploration that, as you make your way through it, allows you to unlock new abilities in both areas. There are also DLCs that you can purchase or in-game that you can unlock as far as extra costumes, extra Batmobiles, extra playable characters. So all sorts of fun things that you would expect from the Batman universe. All right, next, let's go ahead and talk about the open world and the traversal. The world is vast and expansive. The traversal is very fun, just once again similar to the Arkham games, but taking place in the Lego universe. As we touched on earlier with the progression system, as you unlock more abilities, you can traverse the world in more fun and dramatic ways. But there's definitely plenty of the world to explore, and the open world traversal feels really good. So that was one of the things I definitely enjoyed about this game. Next, we are going to cover the combat system. So much like Arkham, just in the Lego world, it has both stealth takedowns and then regular non-stealth combat. Sorry, a little hiccup there. So for me, the stealth takedowns felt pretty easy a lot of times. As you can see here in this gameplay, I'm flying around back and forth in front of these guys and I'm still able to take them down. But once again, you got to keep in mind the target demographic for this is not me. This is, a game primarily made for kids and fans of the Lego games franchise. So, I can understand why it's a little easier to do stealth than in your typical game. The combat system, very similar to Arkham. You have your strikes, your rolls, your dodges. You can throw batarangs. The combat system I found very cool. It's very smooth. There's some great animations because, rather than just beating up criminals and having them lie on the floor, they burst into little Lego pieces. And it does have finishing moves. Those are super fun as well. A lot of them are very comical. So I definitely enjoy the combat system. Next part of the game I want to talk about are the puzzles. So it has a number of missions that are puzzle based. I feel like it is appropriately challenging. That for children, it's definitely going to give them a challenge. There is a scan mechanism to help out, but as you can see with this last piece that I was looking for, even scanning the environment, it took me a little bit longer than I would like to admit to figure out where it was. But I feel like overall, most of the puzzles are obviously pretty easy. So essentially, I think if you are purchasing this for your child, they're going to be able to get through the puzzles. There's enough on-screen hints and being able to scan the environment that it makes the puzzles enjoyable, but not overly tedious. So for an adult, these are going to be easy, obviously, but like I said, adults primarily aren't the prime demographic for this game. And the ones that are playing it, are playing it because a love of Batman or a love of the Lego games. So they're not gonna mind that the puzzles aren't super tedious or hard to solve. Hooray!
If we find one more, we should be able to identify the suspect.
So that's an example of me solving one of the many puzzles to advance in the story. Not overly complicated, as you can see. All right, so the next thing we should talk about is that there is a number of unlockable characters, like I've mentioned, and you can switch to them with just the tap of a button. The characters have their own individual skill sets, and there will be times that you will need to use those skill sets. So right here, I scan the environment, upcoming, and it's going to show me. So we've got some items here that are on fire. And when I hop down and do a scan here, it's going to pretty easily show me that for this puzzle, I need to switch to Officer Gordon. So right there, quick switch. And now you are playing as that character. Besides having their own unique skill sets, the other playable characters also have their own vehicles that they can build with the Lego resources they've collected. So Batman has Batmobiles, as to where Gordon has squad cars that he can form, and the other characters, much of the same. I won't spoil what the other characters are or what they have, but that is how that works. Just a one button easily switch between characters. Next, let's talk about driving. So, number of vehicles that you can build, and the driving's pretty intuitive. You have a steer, you have a brake, you have a boost. You can absolutely run into things in this universe, much like GTA, and wreck them, and they will turn into little pieces of Legos. So, you can choose to drive conservative, or you can just
Not what we wanted to happen.
go all out and boost yourself and ram things, and it's all up to you. But the driving mechanics felt good, and overall had a good time with them. And with a simple button press, you can summon your vehicle at any time. it essentially just builds a new one out of Legos, and it is right there for you.
Here's our ride. The only way to stop his car is to drive into it. Then let's do it.
So earlier I mentioned photo mode. This is one of my photos that I had snapped of Batman up on the GCPD roof. I took a few different ones of this, got pretty epic shot. So overall, not something I would be huge into. I wasn't that big into it in the Spider-Man games, but for folks who want to get epic shots, the photo mode is in the game, and pretty similar to most photo modes. Not a ton to comment on here, pretty self-explanatory. So in the game, there are a number of things at times where if you need to open a door, you need to collect the appropriate Lego pieces to build something to be able to do that. Once again, if you use your scan, pretty easy to identify. I'm just punching things here because it's fun. But the ones highlighted in yellow are the ones needed. And then you can build an item. Ooh. Look at that. And use it to progress to the next room. Jim and I are doing a little teamwork here. So I don't really think this gives much story away, but this kind of just gives you an example of the difficulty of the in-game puzzles. So I had to place all 3 food items on the tray to be able to do that. There was some cooperation and switching between characters that need to occur. So that is a little preview of that without going too much further into spoiler territory. Another look at some of the combat. So you've got counter moves that you have to be able to do. If you have opponents that have projectiles that they can toss at you, you need to use your dodge roll to be able to get out of the way. Very similar to Arkham style combat, again, like I said, but it is very fun, especially when you get large hordes of enemies that you fight. Also, while I have this clip up, I would say probably like 80% of every environment is destructible. So, I mean, that's kind of fun. You can just sit there and wreck stuff and collect Lego resources as you go through. So, I guess in conclusion, my review is Lego Batman has some very fun elements. The combat, the open world, the traversal, the driving, all of the unlockables, the DLC, all great things. For me personally, if I had to go back and do it, I probably wouldn't have bought this game because I won't see myself putting any more time into it. But that's perfectly okay because I'm not the target demographic for this game. If you have kids that really enjoy the Lego franchise, or even not kids, but if you're a gamer that's grown up on the Lego franchise, Lego Star Wars or the other Lego Batman games, then if this is for you, then you're definitely going to enjoy it and have a good time with it. It's just not my game, but that doesn't make it the fault of the game. The game itself is actually really well developed. I did enjoy the combat mechanics, the driving, the open world, all of that stuff. So I think it is a solid game for, the audience that it's intended for to be enjoyed. That is my review of Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. On spoiler, that is going to be all for this video. If you want to see more content, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, notification bell on. And if you want to like or hype the video, certainly helps support the channel and helps the channel grow. Drop a comment if you want to let me know how you are enjoying the Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight game. And till next time, I'm Batman.